It's a trip back in time. This is the first dairy farm I've been on in over 20 years.
Dad would come home and, you know, kick the ball and laugh lots and carry around on his shoulders. And Dad was just a really beautiful, loving dude. But by the time I was about 7, he was a completely different person. 7 to 11, those years I did everything I could to stay the hell away from my father because I was terrified, absolutely terrified.
When I left, I was so angry. It's like, you know, when a cow, particularly a young cow, has a difficult birth, she will walk away from that calf and not even look back, will not have anything to do with it. I was like that with farming after Roger Douglas destroyed the economy and destroyed me.
I was tired. I was running, feeding the calves and cows and just worrying about the farm, and he just didn't care. He just said that, you know, if I didn't like the way things were going, he would leave.
Why me? What was happening to my life? Why couldn't I just go home and be a farmer? Why couldn't everything come right? Why couldn't I just be with my family, my kids who I love so dearly? Why did I have to go through this? Why was I putting everybody around me through this? Where was this anger coming from? Where was this just raw frustration coming from that was in me?
How old was I? I think I was 7. It's a nice sunny spring morning actually. It was probably one of the darkest memories I recall. It was me and my sister running off and hiding in the garden, in the trees and the shrubs, watching my mother and father have the mother of all arguments with my older brother there, standing there just clueless to know what to do. And my father shouting at my brother, go and get the gun, I'm going to shoot Mum.
Yes, those days when I was screwed up, this was the only place I could find solace. You know, you can't help but expand when you're in here, eh? Even when you're in these massive valleys. It's just a feeling of, it's so huge around you, you can't not feel it. Magical place. For those who read the book, you can remember the part that I spent the night here at Tekapo with Sue. We'd actually gone to the mountains, back into the main divide to Mount Cook to get the world's purest water for our homeopathy treatment for our farm. And all the way over through the foothills and from the flat plains of Canterbury to the mountains, Sue had been boring into me, just really digging into my soul. And that was the trip that I couldn't take it any longer, and I pulled off on the side of the road just screaming at her in anger, and just broke down, and it was probably the first time since I was a kid I cried. And so the argument raged on. We were just screaming at each other in the hotel room, and so I just got up out of bed, and I guess it was probably about 11 midnight, I have no idea really, but it was, you know, well into the night, and walked across down the road and crossed the bridge, which is the tail race of the dam. And I sat down on the side of the bridge and you know, just said, why life? Why? It was just, I was in such a bad place. I had all these things happening to me, all these feelings and all these sensations, and I was trying to deny it all and push it down, and I had this Miss Rich Bitch telling me what to do or what I should be doing, where I should be going, and who I was, and when one side of me sort of knew that inside, but inside I didn't want to know it, and so I was suppressing it and debating and arguing with me. So anyhow, in the end, I was just so had with life. I said, fuck it. It was in the winter time. The water was just above freezing. I said, I'm over the side of the bridge. I can distinctly remember getting up, leaning over the side of the bridge, seeing the water about 10 meters below, and just says, fuck it, and I just leant over, way over the point of perch. I remember my legs coming off the ground. I was going into that water. I was going to top myself. End of story. Next minute, I got the shock of my life. It was just like, boof! And I was back lying on the footpath, on the sidewalk on the side of the bridge. And I was stunned. And there was nobody around. And I've analysed that in my head. I can distinctly remember the centre of gravity of my body going over, and all as I just said, fuck it. And my feet were off the ground coming up, and next minute, kaboom! I was just thrown backwards, and there I was on the concrete sidewalk. Stunned. And the next minute, just absolute rage and fury welled up in me again. How dare the universe? How fucking dare? I can't even kill myself. So in my fury, I thought, fuck God, I'll get you. I'm going to go to this little church. And I think I probably screamed in that church for an hour and a half. In the end, I was just totally and utterly exhausted, just emotionally totally drained. And I lay down on the pew, on the very front pew of that little church, and finally fell asleep. And when I was arguing with the powers that be up there, my body would turn on. And this was the start of the healing process. My devastation, if you like, physically, emotionally, mentally, triggered or brought to the fore the other part of me, that very sensitive, that very in tune part to the world around me, or the unseen world around me. So I became passionate in learning and developing my other senses, because my physical senses were becoming non-existent, and that understanding of there's a bigger thing at play here. There's more than we can see, feel and touch. So that became the trigger, really, that hitting rock bottom physically, mentally, became the trigger for me to get back in tune or develop that awesome power that was in me physically, even though my physical body was starting to fall apart, was available through another sensory perception with me, and I could start to feel things with my hand and thus put bodies back together. Most of my life, this world that we're having this life experience in was not a good place for me to be. I didn't feel right. I could see so many wrongs in it, and it gutted me, and I felt deeply about it. Getting to this stage in life and seeing all its imperfections of our culture, of our society, of our world, the thing that I can do is use what I have got to the benefit of those around me.